Hi, everybody. This is Dana, and you are listening to the Revolution Within podcast with Dana. How are you? Um, I have a little microphone here that I'm holding up because trying to clip it to my shirt is kind of pointless. It keeps like flopping over. And I am going to be looking at this computer because last week when I recorded, I kind of went completely off on tangents and missed the point several times, as I am prone to do. Anyway, if you'd like to reach me, talk to me, find me on social media, you could find me at revolution underscore within 31 on Instagram. My Substack is Revolution Within 31. I am located on my website at revolution-within.com. And my email address is Dana, Dana, at revolution-within.com. You can also, if you're watching this or listening to this, then you can leave a comment. So, anyway, my topic this week is how to stop feeling drained without running away from home. And I have an article on Substack and Medium, and I'll put it on my blog so you can follow along. Here we go. Let me ask you something. Are you one of those people who really puts yourself out there for other people, your family, your friends, and you drop everything when somebody asks you to do something? Do you often end your day with the thought, where did this day go? And why didn't I get anything done? Or maybe you look around and wonder why, even though people are still saying the rote please and thank you, you still feel unappreciated or underappreciated. Well, you're not alone at all. And this is super relatable, and it's also figuring a couple of things out for yourself, make it fixable. Anxiety, overwhelm, resentment, hopelessness, these feelings are signals. Like the smoke alarm in your house that goes off when you burn toast. These are blaring noises that your brain is sending you, telling you that something requires your attention and that the call is coming from within the house. Okay? Those big, scary emotions aren't showing up to make you feel terrible or guilty or ashamed or judged. They're showing up to make you tune into yourself again. Okay, story time. Ever since I was born, I have been super sensitive and have had pretty severe mood swings. Growing up, every single word of criticism and even if it was meant for something good, anything negative that I heard about me, I internalized and I just blew out of proportion. And I held on to that shit like a security blanket forever. Spoiler alert, these are all signs of ADHD, but I'll get to that, okay? So fast forward 49 years, I'm sitting in a psychologist's office for the county talking to a doctor about my older son who had been diagnosed with ADHD at age 9, but was still something he wasn't connecting for him socially. He really struggled through middle school. Um, he's an incredibly bright kid, but he was still socially, he would, he'd get overwhelmed, he'd hide under his desk, things like that. Totally, I could totally relate to that. Um, and a friend of mine who has a daughter who's very similar to my son recommended that I go to the county, that I make an appointment to, get him an official diagnosis of autism, which I did. He's very high functioning, so he kind of flew under the radar for a long time. Anyway, while I was sitting there talking to the doctor, I was describing to her, like his parents' history, my husband's history, my history, and explaining to her that I think the ADHD may have come to me. And she leans forward and she gestures at me. I'm sitting there, my hands are tapping the desk, my legs are bouncing up and down. And she basically says, duh, you think? That's not an actual quote. Um, so it wasn't an official diagnosis, but I'm taking it because about a year earlier, I had been reading articles about undiagnosed ADHD in women and how it shows up like chronic depression and anxiety, which are things that I have been dealing with since I was, 13. And it explained so much. It was like one of those click, puzzle pieces coming together. But rather than my old song of, well, of course I learned this now. Why didn't we have this information 35 years ago? Well, I'm just screwed. I decided to process my grief over what could have been, release it, and start where I was right then. So that is a mindset shift that will change your life. What trips us up is going back, looking at what we've done in the past and lamenting, if only I'd known then what I know now. Well, you didn't, okay? You can't go back and change it. Dwelling on it isn't going to help you. In fact, it delays your growth, your moving forward. You know that expression, there's no use crying over spilled milk? It means that once something has happened, you can't undo it. You can't put the toothpaste back in the tube or the milk back in the glass, right? So that's the point here. If you're continually investing your precious energy into going back and ruminating on all the ways you missed out or messed up or lost the beat in your past, you can't very well move forward, can you? That's the nonsense that keeps us stuck. So personally, I spent years thinking I was just spoiled and grateful my brain was broken. I had had enough people in the past tell me that I was selfish and untalented and ungrateful and not compassionate and bratty and all those kinds of things. And all those thoughts were still stuck on a loop inside my head. And I had tried all the things to make the depression to go away. Natural remedies, yoga, running, meditation, everything would work temporarily. Even the medications that I've been on have only worked temporarily. And then it would all come back. So I didn't yet fully understand that depression is a symptom of a much deeper issue and that I was just putting band-aids on a bullet wound. I also hadn't fully figured out yet that those opinions of me weren't actually facts and that I could just decide to just not believe that anymore about myself. So learning that I had untreated ADHD, instead of freaking out or being upset about falling through the cracks, I chose to be relieved that I finally had an explanation and could map out my path forward more easily. The more information, the better. Now, that's not to say that I didn't experience some grief or anger about it. The injustice of being born in the 70s, back when nobody had any idea what they were doing, when parenting revolved around 3 square meals and not knowing or caring that much because, oh, thank God, finally some peace. Nobody cared where the kids were until after the sun went down. And there was no way to even really contact. We didn't have cell phones. We didn't have any of that kind of stuff. And there wasn't this constant blasting of like media all the time. We had what, 3 channels, maybe 6, I don't know. Then cable came along and, but we didn't have this constant barrage of worrying about things, like of the terrible things that could happen if you step out your door. It was just life. So I did feel some of those emotions, but letting them linger past a certain point is just not it. The longer you hang on to the unfairness of it all, the longer you stay miserable because nobody said life is supposed to be fair, you know? The best way to even the playing field is to work on your mindset, rewrite your story, and create the energy that you want. And that takes dedication, which leads me to this. I also wasn't considering that maybe I was trying too hard. Maybe I needed to stop trying to fix it and ask myself a couple of questions like, why is it here in the first place? What is this trying to teach me? Did you ever notice that the more you resist something, the more it like comes back? What's the one thing that you keep doing over and over again, huh? Think about it. Your focus on that makes it grow. If you're still fixated on the stuff you don't want to be doing, you're creating more energetic momentum toward it. Okay. What's the one thing what's one habit that you want to break? What's the one thing that you keep going back to over and over again? Think about all of the things that you've done to try and make it stop or go away. How does that make you feel? Probably not great. So if you're frequently asking yourself, why does this keep happening? Here's a reframe. What is this trying to tell me? Let me ask you this. Are you calling yourself a failure right now? Are you beating yourself up over the things that you've done wrong? That you still can't fix the problem, that all the things didn't do squat? Well, I get it. Working on yourself, self-improvement is frustrating, agonizing, and it's so boring sometimes. Why can't things just, change when I want them to? Good question. Here's why. We're supposed to evolve. That's the purpose of every pattern. You keep repeating it until you've learned everything you're supposed to learn from it, and then you'll level up. Railing against it with all your drama and your rage and all that isn't going to teach you much more than maybe a few new swear words and how efficiently you can cry yourself to sleep at night. Without adversity, we wouldn't appreciate amazingness. My younger son, I've heard him say this more than once. He's always said, I wish every day were Christmas Day, or I wish every day were my birthday. And, he's a kid, so that makes sense. But like when you're thinking about that as an adult, it does sound incredible in theory, but if every day were that special day, it would cancel out the specialness. Not everything is meant to be the best thing ever. How would we measure anything if everything were the same? How can we expand if we're never challenged? That's why it just baffles me when there are people who just spend all of their time focused on the next party or the next. I get it. I love to party. I love to go out and have like lots of fun. But if you're losing yourself in it, what are you trying to escape? Are you trying to escape your life? You may want to look at that. On that note, instead of abandoning your life and hopping a flight to, I don't know, Cabo, somewhere you want to go, consider this. When you're noticing those warning signals blaring through your nervous system, take the time to center yourself. Here's how. Have a seat, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth, like give it a big sigh, like just let it out like that, right? Press your feet into the floor. Push your feet into the floor. Turn your awareness to your body and let go of thinking for a few minutes. Just focus on your breathing. Repeat that until you feel yourself relax. It's a very basic grounding exercise, and it will give you some relief if you let it. That's the key. If you're going to sit around and say, this doesn't work, or this is stupid, or then yeah, that's what's going to happen for you. If you look at things, if you look at self-help things or self-improvement things or meditation, deep breathing, things like that as stupid or they don't work or it's woo, or then that's what you're going to get out of it. What you focus on grows, right? If you focus on everything being stupid or not working or whatever, that's what you're going to see. If you give things a chance and you start to open your mind and you start to learn from things, you would be surprised by what you would find. Personally, I'm a big advocate of meditation. To me, it feels like peeling off my Spanx and like letting for my brain instead. Like I'm letting my mind out of its girdle, so to speak. Like let thy gray matter spilleth over kind of thing. I know it's silly, but that's what it feels like to me. So since I allegedly have ADHD, my brain races all the time. So being able to release all of that noise and just exist without trying to fix or create or manage or correct or something is really blissful. And it actually took me a lot of practice to really learn how to meditate and kind of relax and let go of all those racing thought patterns, because my brain tends to barrel through shit like a toddler imitating the Kool-Aid man. I mean, it just goes like all the time. But I'll tell you that the practice has really paid off. Over the past year and a half that I've been meditating almost every single day, the improvement I've seen in managing my overwhelming emotions. I really have no words. I mean, having depression for as long as I have, like, I've seen a dramatic decrease in episode length and episode intensity. It's really been incredible, guys. So, if that grounding practice that I just talked about seems too basic, feel free to start a meditation practice. Even a few minutes a day, just a few minutes a day is enough. And there are like a million free resources on YouTube. And email me, contact me, reach out to me, and I'll recommend some favorites because I do have some. So that's my contribution this week, beauties and cuties. I know. Grounding, breathing, meditation. Who would have thunk? Well, honestly, I've tried everything. I've been on medication. I've been on and learning that your thoughts, every thought you have, we have like 60,000 thoughts a day, and almost all, like 80% of them are negative or something like that's insane, right? Knowing that and understanding that you don't have to believe everything that your brain says to you. You don't have to go back in the past and relive it. You actually have the option to rewrite your story. Like, your past doesn't have to define you. Did you know that? You can completely recreate yourself at any time if you decide to. That's the beauty of having this neuroplasticity and malleable brain that we have as human beings. I think, as far as we know, we're the only creatures on the planet who can do this. And right there, that's amazing. You can reinvent yourself at any time. And all it takes is a decision. And that makes it sound really easy, right? It's not. It's simple. Practice patience and perseverance, or persistence, whichever P word you prefer, are what it takes to make any change. The thing is that the more we focus on things that we don't want, or things that we've done in the past that we did badly, or the more we focus on that, the more energy we bring into our present that recreate that in our current lives. If you're able to refocus your energy on what you want in your present life and focus on what you want to bring to you in the present, I keep saying the word present because living in the present is the point. If we're always living in the past or always projecting to the future, we miss a lot. We miss a lot that's going on around us, and we miss a lot to be grateful for. And just stepping into gratitude, which is something I talked about, I think last episode, is huge. That shift in your thinking, that shift in your energy, it starts this cavalcade of changes, and in a year you won't even recognize yourself. I don't even recognize myself with the level of confidence I have in myself now. I surprise myself even now. Yeah, anyway, I could talk about energy work for days and days, but I just wanted to say, if you're enjoying this podcast, please recommend it to your friends. You can always leave a comment. There's a way you can text me and leave a comment. You can leave a review. I hope that you leave a 5-star review for me. That would really help my, getting the word out. I appreciate everyone who does support me. And if you want to read what I just talked about, I think there's a transcript on Apple Podcasts, and there's an article on Substack, and there's an article, and it's all written out on my blog. There's lots and lots of ways to find my content. Anyway, thank you so much for watching or listening, and I hope you have a wonderful week. Take care out there, and remember, all will be well.